Welcome everyone to a new gameplay series. This one will be on Victory at Sea Pacific. Now Victory at Sea Pacific, I would consider this a strategic game with action elements. It puts you in charge, as the name implies, of the Pacific Theater during World War II. I'm going to try to talk through various parts of the game or various aspects of the game while we're doing the tutorial. And I don't want to skip that because it'll give me something to do in the background while I'm describing the game. You can start getting a taste for how the game plays out. What I would say about this game, if I had to sum it up, is I love it and then I hate it. I can't stop playing it, and then I encounter game-breaking bugs that I just don't want to play anymore. So this is kind of the problem with the game. Is it probably should have been an early access title. It was released 3 or 4 months ago, back in September. For those of you watching way in the future, September 2018. And unfortunately, it met with some pretty negative reviews on Steam. The complaints were basically that it has a lot of bugs. And unfortunately, so the one thing I want to say, to counter that, is the developers have been amazing, really, really dedicated to continue improving the game. They've been patching the bugs. So basically, this is what modern day titles would just call early access. It's basically an early access title. So unfortunately, it didn't have that name associated with it, so there's been plenty of people who, I don't know, thinking that this is the final state of the game. A lot of, sadly, with a lot of developers basically not continuing to support their games after development, after release, which is probably where the perspective that this development team called it a release. Now, it was extremely buggy, so I would say it wouldn't have been a good time to release it anyway. But the point is, they're continuing to work on it, so it's an early access title, and the Steam reviews do not reflect the current state of the game. But unfortunately, there's no early access to release change in order to actually change those reviews. We'll never know. People have already written them as if we would never get an improved version of the game, but it's constantly being worked on. Okay, so basically we'll encounter a lot of bugs throughout this campaign. I won't shy away from them. I'll point them out. Hopefully that those will be all patched in the future. I'm hopeful that that's really truly the case. Now, the time frame for this, obviously World War II, does start exactly December 7th, 1941, on the surprise attack, the day of the surprise attack at Pearl Harbor. So that's what we'll be dealing with here. In fact, in a moment, we'll have FDR play his really famous Day of Infamy speech. So we've been attacked by the Empire of Japan. Next thing, I guess, is to get the Litchfield to join formation. So, and my thoughts on the game, I'd like to compare it to War in the Pacific Admiral's Edition, the Gary Grigsby's extremely, extremely complicated, detailed strategy title. It's almost hard to call it strategy. It's like a hardcore logistics simulator. It's a little bit like that because it gives you this feeling. It's that the unknown, the big Pacific Ocean. It's huge, right? And you don't know where the Japanese fleet, any number of their fleets. There's more than one, of course. You don't know where their fleets are at any given time. So the decisions you have to make, for example, do I pair up my carriers? I have 4 of them. Do I pair them up in twos, in pairs? Or do I group them in one group of 4? Or do I spread them out to 4 different areas for more effect, but each of them is single? Then there's different pluses and minuses for all those things. If you don't know where the enemy fleet is, well, what happens if one of your carriers comes up against 2 or 3 of theirs? Well, you really would have preferred at that point to have all 4 carriers together so that you could inflict this decisive blow and eliminate the enemy carriers right away. Instead, you might lose 1 carrier for very little exchange. So this whole trade-off is really quite cool. I'm not explaining anything which is going on in the tutorial. I'm just going to kind of assume that if you want to learn this yourself, you can play the tutorial. Or you're kind of watching what I'm doing here and I'm not obviously I'm not telling you the keys I'm pressing, but okay, we want to go this way. The Enterprise is going to want to launch a squadron. Yeah. Can you turn though? It's pretty tight. You might need to do a 3-point turn here. Okay, yeah, we want to scout. So I didn't really finish this comparison with War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. First, I mean, if you're not familiar with that game, you can kind of think of this as... maybe you could think of it as a Hearts of Iron type game with the Pacific-only theater. I think the game is specifically based on Task Force 42, which is an older Microprose title. I'm not sure. That's just a guess, or at least I've seen people talking about Task Force 42 when referring, or like when talking about this game. So I'm not really sure if it's something that the developers were intending or just parallels that other people are making. So this is one mechanic that's pretty cool, is the carriers do have to turn into the wind for launching their aircraft. Now in this game, wind is always modeled as coming out of the south. Obviously that's not a true, it's just obviously not true, but it's something that makes the game pretty simple and still makes you observe this effect. And you can kind of play around it too. For example, if I know I'm going to attack an enemy surface action group, so a bunch of enemy battleships, I will want to approach them from the north. Why? Because if they start to run me down, I can launch my fighters from the same direction that I'm running away. I don't want to be forced, if I approach them from the south, in order to launch my fighters, I have to approach them. And if they're, let's say if I'm trying to flee them, that means I only have two choices. Run away without countering them at all, or suffer the risk of moving my carriers in their direction in order to launch my aircraft, but that's the only way I can actually do damage to them. So usually you want to get these guys up to 3,500 for their bombing runs. We've given our order, let's speed up a little bit. There it goes, and there's an enemy. Hooray. Let's go kill him. I'm not taking this tutorial very seriously, but I do plan to really, not necessarily full-on roleplay for this, but I think that this game, because it puts you into these really, I would say really cool moments, these like uncertain moments where you're not sure how to best react for all the reasons I already described, like not knowing where the enemy fleet is, how to divvy up your fleet. One thing, so I played my own little campaign of this to test it out. How I got into this game, basically in September when the game was released, it was still too buggy and I didn't have a fun time playing it at all. Well, actually, my main excuse, I actually saw already the huge potential of this game, and I think it just has such great potential. But my wrist was hurting because they had a kind of a bug with the middle mouse scroll, the mouse wheel scroll, that, and we see now it's fine, like I can zoom in, zoom out very easily, but this is still present in menus. You'll have to actually grab the bar and drag. Hooray, we did it. And even this, I really like this, watching. So at War in the Pacific, to keep making this analogy, keep talking about this analogy, it's really great. It's a really great game, but one of the problems with it is, okay, let's go this way. One of the problems with it is that there's no graphics. I mean, obviously it's just a board game. That's not even a problem because a lot of it's left to our imagination, which is perfectly fine. And actually, they do have a little bit of graphics for fleet combat. So what am I talking about? They do have some basic graphics rendered, but this is obviously a lot more real. The graphics they're showing are just like the results of combat rolls. They're not actually, like it's just a visual demonstration of how the dice rolls are going. Okay, look, buddy, let's get you over there. So it's always nice to see the action, to kind of watch your airplane evade. There's no, it's just it's a visual spectacle, but it's still fun to have. I mean, if War in the Pacific had that, it would probably still be better for it. Okay, go ahead and attack. Now, what was I talking about though? My journey to get into the game. So since September, I've played the game several times. No, go and attack. What are you doing? I mentioned a few times that there's bugs in the game, and we're already kind of seeing one here. I think this submarine is like too close and this Litchfield does not want to approach. I mentioned that this game has some bugs. I might have to restart this recording. I can't even do this with a straight face. What in God's name are you doing, Litchfield? The game is still great. I know that you're thinking this is just terrible, and it is. They really should get their these kind of bugs fixed. I have no idea what the Litchfield's doing. She's ignoring all. Let's slow down. Maybe we can get her to function. She's gone. She's gone rogue. She's gone rogue. Oh my God. I've never encountered this bug before. What a guy's name. Okay, look. Okay, Balch, save us. Save us, Balch. Does the Balch have depth charges? She does. So what we're going to do is... I hope that the game does not care which of my 2 destroyers I use for this. It looks like the Litchfield has returned to her senses now. So I guess we can use her again. And I'm not going to shy away from these bugs. They are prevalent. We will see a lot of them. And sometimes they are even like game breaking, unfortunately. So I give you an attack order, you're going to go crazy, you're going to do your thing. You're going to do your thing now. And this does happen. I mean, we'll absolutely see this a lot. So my only thing is I do want to say the developers are working on these things. So, okay, hooray, we're back.
Yesterday,
And here's FDR.
1941.
December 7th, 1941, a day which will live in infamy. It's a very famous speech. We'll just skip it though.
United.
You can listen to it online, I'm sure. And now we'll actually go to the bridge screen where... Oh gosh, that was funny. That was a funny bug. Where we're actually going to be playing most of the campaign. So this is what I mean. This is what we're in charge of. We're in charge of these. Right now we currently have Midway. We have Wake Island. We'll lose that soon. Johnston Island. We have Ellis Islands. It's very possible to lose that. And it's about this island hopping campaign. So we'll select Task Force 12. This is we have 1 carrier fleet. They want us to send some kind of scout aircraft. We'll send a scout this way. This is like the maximum range you can move. I didn't actually tell it to go to its maximum, which, you know, it just depends on, for example, one of the things I take into account is which way my fleet's moving. If my fleet's moving in one direction versus another, I can actually get more range or maybe less range than if I'm standing still. So let's get Task Force 3 to engage this group. Funny episode already. We'll speed up time a bit. It's true. Actually, if we wanted to, what do we have is in the way of... Yeah, okay, I get it. What do we have in way of war funds? I can't see because the tutorial message is blocking. Probably they don't want you to start building stuff like I'm already trying to start building stuff. I thought we'd get a fleet going, a support fleet. So there is a real element of logistics in this. You can see that all these shells, bombs, rations, torpedoes, aerial torpedoes, fuel, depth charges, depth bombs, and aviation fuel. This is all modeled. Like, it keeps track of every shell that you fire. And there is some amount of... Okay, I went up to 1,000 just to please you. But you're not? Okay, I guess it doesn't matter. Well into combat. A lot of the times it's not that you have to worry about too much, but the convoys, the automatic convoys, usually will take care of the situation for you. But it's cool that that's all modeled. So I want you to just turn so that you get there first. I don't think that the enemy destroyers can do any damage to the Indy. She's a Portland class, got her 3 8-inch guns per turret. What we're up against is I believe this is a, don't remember, is it the Tenryu? Yeah, Tenryu. And that's, I think, 6-inch guns, so our Indianapolis is just going to decimate this thing. We'll still get my destroyers to go in and support. We'll have them attack the Tanakaze. But the Indy's actually faster. I think these are Clemson-class destroyers. So they have a top speed of around 33, 34, maybe. And my Portland class actually has a top speed of 37, which it says 40 down here, but that's because of some in-game mechanics where if you put like all your crew onto some station, they give some small bonus. It's that whole like hero type thing where your people are working better and making the ship better than it realistically was in real life because, you know, whatever reasons. Just to give the player like an incentive for, I guess, managing their crew. Because if your crew aren't doing well or whatever, if you don't have your crew in the right spot, you'll only get the normal 37 knots out of it. Something like that. Anyways, let's speed up time. We can actually go to a top-down view for this if we wanted to aim the guns ourselves or even look what's the range. So we still have a little bit of time before we get into range. I'll speed up. I did want to make sure that we're attacking that. We are. Good. So if I click this, I'm actually going to control the weapons myself. And top-down is probably not a bad way of controlling the guns so that you don't have any kind of, you know, isometric view, like aiming problems, clicking where you actually don't want to click. So let's slow down to 1x here, and I think I'm going to let my first barrage go right now. And I actually can get this one and launch her as well. I probably should save something for the Tenru, which is going to be coming up in my range soon. In fact, what I can do is I can get the Indy to turn so I can get my full broadside going. It's pretty typical, right? Now my shells should be coming in any moment now. There they are. Oh, in fact, we totally bracketed the Urakazi there. Did not hit her, unfortunately, but oh, did get her with the second barrage. So we expect that we need to lead the targets. Shells do have to travel like several miles to get to their target. So we should actually be able to reload and fire the rear gun very soon. Oh, hit the Tenru already, took her down to about 75%. And we know she's going to turn this way, so let's go ahead. Oh, nice! That second one was just really a crushing broadside. Now, we don't know if she's just starting to bob and weave or if she's actually turning that way. Even the rear shells were hitting her. We're doing quite a number on her. In fact, what I could do is probably just let the computer, let's take off the top down. Let me let the computer, normally for these battles I'm going to let the computer aim. You can see the Indy's like way ahead. So just if I give her any kind of turn or move order, oh, we actually sank the Tenru ourselves. Fantastic. All on our own. Didn't get to see the explosions and all that, but if you're looking for eye candy, there'll be plenty of it throughout this series. So even right now, we can kind of watch the computer. Props damage, crippled light guns damaged, turret damage, ASW's damaged, so we did. Oh, that was a brutal. Let's get her to attack the Tanakazi. This thing's already basically out of commission. We probably have shells coming down range. Yep, we do. That are all gonna miss, but still the priority target now is the Tanakazi. I'll get the secondary division. Oh, wait. Yep, we missed that one too. Get the secondary division to go in there. I guess they're the secondary squadron in my division. To go and take care of those guys. And maybe I should be aiming. I did a pretty good job myself. We'll speed this up to 2 times because we want to get into some of the more fun stuff. But this is what I mean. It's really nice to be able to control the strategic level at the greatest level. I mean, we're controlling the game at the greatest level. What are you doing? Oh, I gave you the attack order, so now you're turning and bobbing and weaving all on your own. And that looks like, no. Okay, look. Let's give you the turn order and let's select all guns. Do it myself. That was definitely not going to hit. Why can't I control them? Ouch. Hey, we're doing it. And our secondary guns are getting into the action now. She's just charging, probably planning to use torpedoes. Hopefully we don't give her the chance. Ah, man, we're just totally bracketing her, but not actually landing those hits. We're closer now, so we won't be leaving the target as much. Come on. Just way too close. This should have been done. There it is. Who took damage? Did anybody take damage? We look all green. The Indy took a little bit of damage, including that last barrage, but just a barely a tick. I think it won't be very easy, difficult. Oh, God, we left the Urakazi alive. So that's who's still raining shells on us. And there it is. And we took another hit. I mean, most of the armor should be absorbing that, but high explosive can still do superstructure damage, so... But that's not too bad. We'll send them back into port for repairs. And we can always go to the log screen if we want kind of like a role-played description of what happened. And I really like this. In fact, one of the things I like to do with this series is to lightly role-play it. Like, I'm not going to read these things in a different voice or anything like that, but sometimes I'll read them for maybe the big battles. Like, let's just read this one. Second Battle of Johnston Island. Around dawn on Tuesday, 9th December 1941, Task Force 3 spotted an enemy near Johnston Island heading west. The enemy fleet consisted of 2 destroyers and 1 light cruiser. Task Force 3 came under fire and responded in kind, sinking the Tenryu. The resulting battle was a decisive victory for our naval forces, resulting in the sinking of 3 enemy vessels, and our fleet sustained minor damage. In all, Task Force 3 launched 0 torpedoes and fired 151 gun rounds. Both fleets were evenly matched, so to have such a decisive victory in this engagement is something that could help turn the tide further in our favor. The captain's and crew's professionalism under fire was pivotal to the success of this combat. Rear Admiral John Morris, Smealy, Task Force 3. That's kind of nice. They add these little touches. We're back to bridge mode, and we want to conduct a submersible mission next. Okay. Well, let me, I know that it's not telling me to do this, but let me just get this guy to go in for repairs. Select Task Force 5, and these guys are outside of Macon Atoll, and we're going to hit M. Basically, anytime that you're on the bridge, hitting M will return you to combat. Anytime you're in combat, M will return you to the bridge. The funny thing is, in fleet or anything else, hitting M will return you to combat, or hitting escape will turn you to combat, but you can only get back to the bridge by clicking on the bridge. I mean, there's a lot of little things that I think is a development team of 3 coders. So, anyways, now we're in the Uss Drum. As far as I know, this thing is actually on display in Mobile, Alabama. So you can go pay your respects. But let's give you guys a reason to pay respects. And by that I mean let's give you a reason to appreciate her. Wow, holy cow, she's close. So we're going to use G, raise our periscope, and we're going to see instantly everything. In fact, I'm surprised that we're not close enough, so close that the guns don't fire at us. 50%. The hell? Okay, so it turned out that that was just another bug. I restarted the tutorial and I redid it up to this point, and when I got to this mission this time, this is what I saw, which is what I should have been seeing. So we overcame that one. Haha, game. Tortuga 2, bugs 0. I mean, yeah, they're annoying, but we're getting by them so far. And that's another thing I want to talk about, is how we're being like I'm being very insincere in these and kind of joking about these bugs and stuff, and it's definitely not the way I want to play this game. I want to get really immersed and really deep into like how we're really trying to I don't just think about this from a very serious standpoint. Imagine that we really are the Pacific Theater Commander for the Navy, and then just, you know, really deploy our forces to the best, not just to win the game, but let's try to add some extra gravity to it. I mean, I want to immerse myself in the game, so that's probably the way I'll end up doing that. From that perspective, I would call this episode 0 almost like the lead up to the series. Everything will be changing, like the whole demeanor, laughing about these bugs and stuff. I didn't encounter that many bugs, or at least I'm now aware of many of the bugs that I'm going to encounter come the real campaign. So as soon as we finish the tutorial. So we'll just call this the tutorial, and the next mission we should just already start taking very seriously. So for now, let's get Task Force 5, the Uss Drum. Speed up and we'll engage these people. And I would surface, but I believe that the whole point of this first exercise is not to surface until they tell you you can do it, which is right now. So speed up, surface, and let's get going. Now, one of these is an oil tanker, one of them is a merchant. Probably what we should do is gun down the merchant and torpedo the oil tanker because it is pretty resilient to gunfire, but it's also one of the rare situations where we have an undefended escort. So what I'd rather do actually is use my guns against both. So this could be a very long engagement. I'll probably stick around, I'll let you stick around for the first little bit, but after a little bit, I'm probably just gonna cut away and then come back when the gunnery is over. So we have our Tokyo Maru, and then we have our Kuzan Maru. And the reason why I'm stopping my own submarine from firing is because bullets are very precious. I don't know if there's a way I can give them a turn order. I guess I'll fire a shot first and then give them a turn order, because as soon as you give them a turn order, they balls. I think it's free fire again. So I want to do this. I want to slow down. They still got one shot off. Damn it, but that's fine. So we should be okay like this for a little bit. And now let's aim, and you'll see this is not. It's not riveting. Oh, that was a good hit. It's a good start. Fortuitous. Alright, so we're going to continue shooting at these two vessels for a while. We will eventually take them down. The oil tanker takes a lot longer than the merchant ship. We'll probably spend 90% of our ammunition on the oil tanker, but we complete this with a still relatively good amount of ammunition left, and all of our torpedoes, which is the more important thing. You don't want to be using your deck gun against anything with guns itself. The only interesting thing here is that the sub has a 360-degree arc with its deck gun, which is obviously impossible. You can't actually shoot through the submarine's sail. But we complete this mission. We get 50 war bonds for the submersible operations, and now we can jump back to the strategic screen. Okay, so we were able to sink the fleet. You probably saw it there, and now the next thing is for us to move Task Force 17, which has appeared on our map, to Making Atoll, and we're going to be doing a raid there, is the idea. I'm also at the same time going to give my Task Force 5 an order to move to Tarawa. So this is going to be so that we can recon Tarawa as well. And so we were able to do a pretty good job. I guess I'll show the log. It should show us capture of Manila, surrender of Hong Kong, invasion of Wake Island. I haven't read these, but I should have pointed out that at the very end of that mission, when we zoomed out to the map, these three things did happen. Wake Island was taken over, Hong Kong and Manila were all taken over by the Japanese Empire. But the skirmish we went in to was a decisive victory. We sank the cargo ship and oil tanker. Good. So very good. Alright, so back to bridge. We'll get Task Force 3 to go repair. Why not? And Task Force 8, we're going to get, this has the Enterprise in it, also the Northampton. I'm going to get them to go repair here, but I'm also going to take off 3, and these are the Gridley class, so they're pretty good destroyers. I'm going to keep these, I'm actually going to create a new fleet with them, keep them in Hawaii, as I expect some... Oh, we have these guys as well. Let's also send them to Johnston Island. We do have some amount of submarines that are going to be appearing near Hawaii. So, Pearl Harbor. Okay, so now that we're done with that, you've been given an order to move. You're given an order to move there. I'm going to keep an eye on you, though, because you're still surface. So I don't... To waste a little bit less fuel, we'll get you to submerge only when you get close to Tarawa. And then we'll give the recon order. Okay, good, everyone's moving. I think everything's going well. Okay, submerge the boat and go ahead and recon Tarawa. These guys moving in very close. Huh? Alright, okay, they're moving. Good. And press M to return to game view. Good. So now what it's going to ask us to do is to conduct a raid with the Yorktown, the carrier, by sending bombers in. We're not going to do that way. We're going to detach the Louisville, and we're going to send the Louisville to go attack it. Now, what I want to watch out for here is, I've had the Yorktown and the Phelps bump each other before, so I'm going to manually control them for just a moment. while the Louisville takes off at max speed, supposedly. Takes off at max speed. There she goes. Okay, good. So now let's rejoin formation here and get these guys to move. Good. Okay, so that should be fine. They should not run into each other. And unfortunately, I actually want to turn them... What's this? Oh, that's the drum way out there. What the hell is she doing here? Oh, God. Oh, God, there's a bug. I don't understand this at all, but that's one hell of a bug. How did you get here? Well, I guess surface and go back over there. Man, I'm actually encountering more bugs in this playthrough than I did previously. Like, by a lot. Maybe double or triple as many bugs. But I guess they're all in the game, so it's only fair. So what is going on then? Okay, yeah, Drum, you gotta do your thing, I understand. You gotta get back. Don't know how you got here. You guys are okay, just hang out, essentially. Louisville. So, instead of sending my my airplanes in against these anti-aircraft emplacements, I instead am going to send in my Louisville, my armored cruiser, because she's going to outrange these guns. So she can outrange even their 6-inch, obviously she can outrange their 6-inch guns. She has 8-inch guns. So their 17 nautical mile range is much greater than I think the 12 or so nautical mile range of the 6-inch guns from the coastal fortification guns. So we'll just use the longer ranged 8-inch guns to take out everything, or at least the AAA emplacements, and then we can get the Yorktown to go in and bomb if we so choose. But at least we won't lose very, very, very precious dive bombers. They're probably, I think that they're actually the best. Really a big bummer about the drum being here suddenly. Really wish he hadn't teleported. Or I wish he would teleport back, or I don't know what the hell's going on, but okay. Okay, so that's not the place we want to go. Good. So we'll right-click and hit attack with the Louisville, and then we'll just give another movement order, or turn, speed up by 25. Good luck, Drum. And well, I guess I'll probably cut away again, and we'll come back when I'm close enough and start the bombardment. Okay, here we are back. We are in range, so I can actually turn us sideways and she'll actually start firing right away. I don't want her to use her most forward guns. In fact, I kind of want her to use her rear guns. And it's daytime, so we should have some accuracy, a fair amount of accuracy. Let me make sure we're turning in a reasonable way. Is that 90 degrees? It might be a little too much. Let's do something like this. Okay, so we're good. Now we just need to start knocking out everything. I might also cut away for this part, but at least you saw what happens here. We get in range, we turn, so we get our full broadside. We can bring our full broadside to bear. We sometimes aim at things and hit them, sometimes we miss. It's a really fun game. Probably top down by hitting T is a better perspective for this. And I've noticed that, okay, can't fire if you're on top of the label. I believe I want to kill everything, even the searchlights, but we'll just do this piecemeal. You, click you, and let's speed up to 2x, so we don't have to wait as long. Destroy the hangar, the searchlight, they'll let me. Okay, forward gun, barracks, kill the hangar again. We missed our 6-inch gun here. I could also be using the Kingfishers to drop bombs, and these, they're bomb, like, replenishment for these armored cruisers, or I should say heavy cruisers. Cruisers, let's just call them cruisers. Rule of the Waves is creeping in. Calling them armored cruisers. You have plenty of bombs, and you don't almost never use your Kingfishers for actual bombing runs. Although I don't think even one bomb can take out these targets. Okay, we'll just continue bombarding the Making Atoll here, blowing it into smithereens. We're kind of trying to set this up for an amphibious assault, an amphibious invasion a little bit later. So for this, we actually want to focus on things like the barracks and the medic, the hospital I should say, the shore guns definitely. The AAA is not as important if we don't want to send in our Air Force, which we don't need to. I don't think it has a big impact on the ground. Otherwise, I really can't wait to get back to a much more immersive view of this game. I just want to stress again that this series should be focused more on the trials of Naval Theater Command and not the game mechanics itself. Okay, mission accomplished. We're ready to head back, and that's that. Completed our objective. We can actually just have this whole group give some kind of movement order so that they all move in formation. That's good. Good luck to the drum. Again, don't know what happened there. Right click on Johnson Tool. Okay, so it wants us to resupply and repair. I will give this order, but I will not follow it because we just don't need to resupply and repair. And now it's just showing us the actual war progress, which I didn't talk about yet. The top is basically the proportion of ports owned. Are they more owned by the Allies or by the Japanese? If we complete enough of the objectives, which they're going to show us in a moment, we start to unlock these things. So doing the raid on Tarawa, doing the raid on Marshall Islands, all these things are going to add XP, which basically just unlocks new technology. And by new technology, I just mean new ships, or sometimes some new airplanes as well. Okay, good. That's what it's telling us right now. And now it's going to talk to us about the war bonds, which we saw was at 702. So that's how much money we have. This is our currency. We operate in war bonds, which is kind of a nice little clever way of saying currency, because that's what the United States mostly was spending borrowed money. So raid tactics are good there, and we can begin constructing new warships. This is where things are going to start to get more exciting. This has already been a very long episode though, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and well, it's already paused. Okay, we'll just do San Diego real fast. It's going to show us the shipyard, I believe. It's going to ask me to construct a ship. We'll definitely get some submarines. Sorry, I'm going to build this. There's its stats. We will build it, absolutely. And it's going to tell us we can upgrade, which we will. The submarines with radar are superior. Having some detection capabilities is fantastic. Okay, so let's go ahead. Did they already tell me about the upgrade thing? I don't think so. They didn't point to this. We're still talking about some other stuff. There it is. Let's go ahead and upgrade. And I'm going to build a lot more than just one. In fact, the very first thing I want to do is build a whole fleet of submarines, because it'll be a long time before we can get the more advanced submarine, which, oh my god, the name escapes me for the next one. But anyway, so Wake Island has now been occupied. Let's view these. That's the one very close to Midway. A bummer to lose that. Continue. Guam. Okay, obviously a pain to lose Guam, because that's a very nice forward operating base for us. No longer. Hong Kong, we already knew that. Manila, we knew that. Kuching, this is in the Dutch province, Dutch area. I think this is the old Dutch area. Or is that British still? Is it Dutch on that? I can't remember exactly who owns what. This is Dutch, and this is British? I don't remember. Kavieng, this is Papua New Guinea area. Okay, good. Rabaul, also in the same area. That's actually a pretty big, I think that's a pretty big port. And Balikpapan. No idea how to say that, so just forgive my pronunciation of anything in this series. Kendari in the Dutch East Islands. Kuantan in Malaya. So this is Kuantan, and then Singapore is probably next. Yep, Singapore also British, but now has fallen, and Timor. Timor also falls very close to Australia. Lae, Papua New Guinea area. Salamau, also New Guinea. Davao, Mindanao, this is south end of the Philippines. Tacloban, I don't know where this is. Okay, also in the Philippines. Mindanao, Philippines. Okay, shipyard operations are complete. Good, so hold new objective, the Pacific War. Hold strategic ports to force a Japanese surrender. Okay, so making a toll, we rated that, we get war bonds, and not only that, but the XP goes up as well. Attack the Japanese position on Terwa. So reconning the making a toll gives us some money. We go to objectives, and it wants us to raid Terwa. Well, we first want to scout it, which is what the damn hull was supposed to be doing before she was magically teleported north. That's okay, we'll go ahead and finish this. And I believe that is the end of the tutorial. It's certainly going to be the end of the episode here, since we've wandered on quite a long time. So this is the first episode in my playlist, at least. I'm not sure if it'll be episode 00 or 01, but it's the first episode in the series. So if you wouldn't mind, this is the only time I'll ask for you to press the like button, give it the thumbs up, and that's just so that the first episode is visible on YouTube. If people don't like the first episode, then you should just do what you'd like. Thumbs up, thumbs down, as you wish. I at least won't remind you. So that's it. That's the only thing I'll talk about with that. And I'm looking forward to this series. I had a lot of fun, so I hope that you will look past the bugs, at least of the first episode, and give this series a try into episode 2 and 3. We'll be, I think, taking a very different tone. We'll actually start talking less about the game and talking about the game mechanics and all that. Hopefully getting more immersed in the action and speaking as a commander rather than a person playing game. That's my hope, at least. So until the next episode, thanks for watching and take care.